shear. That's how disorganized I am. Now we're in the Sharkavanos, the Indian Tzitzis. And we're moving along. We're really at the end of the second drush. He's got a new idea here. He says Indian hatifa b'seder chasiyas hatifa. So wrapping yourself, and then the order of the wrapping. Vatam lebezeh. Now he says a reason for that. Gam Yavur Indian Tallit Shal Yaakov. And then also there's a Tallit of Yaakov that we have to know and learn about. So some of this is repetition, I think. He says, Vihine Indian Tallit the Zakabarn is barred. We've already explained this. But Od Yesh Bechinas Tallit Shal Yaakov. But there's another Tallit still. That's the one of Yaakov. Kanoida Etzleno, Indian Yaakov, the Yotz Mipnei Zer Anpin. So this is the parts of called Yaakov, which is in the front of Zer Anpin for the Chaz of Lamata. So Rubimin the Chaz of Lamata. The Indian, the Talis Atzmo Shalos, and then the Indian is the Talis, he has a Talis of his own. Yuban Min the Talis Shal Zer Anpin. You can understand that what's playing at the Zer Anpin is Yaakov is like a miniature Zer Anpin, I think there's supposed to be a close parenthesis here. Nizka the Eoki Gam Yaakov Yesh Bos Aras Rosho. He also has hairs on his head. And from those he makes the concept of the tzitzis. Shabok and Nizkar the Elok. We mentioned, we talked about tzitzis before. There's three different kinds of hairs. That's in Zeranpin. Tzitzios Naasach Bebechinas Sa'aro Shal Katnos. So they're made out of the hairs that come from the dimension of katnus. Nikwa kutzim kanizkan la'el, which we mentioned, kutnis with katnus, kutzim rather by different words, as we mentioned before. Amnan bezer anpen sheyesh lo shtei noshim, so he has two wives, ma'acharov, shehem leah v'rachel, and this really dovetails with what we were learning this morning. He said, which are Leah and Rachel. Sark shlosh b'chinas seir. You have to have three different kinds of hair there. Why? So one is that with the highest level, I guess, with the mocha the godless that go for Zeranpin himself. But ninim the unique of the Leah, then one of the ninim or medium hairs, they go to the level of Leah. But the Eva the Rachel, and then from the Eva stage they go to Rachel. Those are the longest hairs. About Yaakov. Elo Rak Isha Achas Levad, but let's look at it. Yaakov only has one wife, a Nikra Dor Hamidbar, which is called the generation of the desert, and we have to really go back to the Yotzros Chaim to try to get the lineup of where they're at and how they're holding before it's Leno, as explained in other places. So therefore, he only needs two different kinds of hair. Okay, that's that little piece. My wife is here. She's bringing me in just 1 second. Okay. All right. So I'm trying to get through this in the time that we have to get to today. What time is it now? We have like 5 minutes. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so we're going to start on page Rish Samach Gimel here on page Kuf Pei Dalet. Shrabi Kavanas Atalis Vatzitzis Dezah Shehim Shlosha Bechinas Aros Kotzim Derachol Nimin Leleah V'Saaros Lazah Atzmal Kavar Bira Rav B'Tov Tam V'Drashenu. So they've been explained. V'chein Yeshnech Bechinas Talis V'Tzitzis Hayotzis Mepartzo Shayakov, but there's also hairs there. Bina ba'akrav shel zeh yotzim shnei partzufim. Shehem partzuf Leah shehi ad achazat zah, and partzuf Rachel shehi min achazat zah lamat. About b'tzad the panim, but look at the face shel Zeranpin yotzim rak partzuf Yaakov. There's only a partzuf right, one part to the father for who min achazat lamat. There's lavad, so there's one partzuf in the front, only one. The bechinas orchat talas v'orchat tzitzis the yotzech of parts of Yaakov. So the concept of the light of the talas and the light of the tzitzis that come out from the parts of Yaakov. Ki lefi shabir harav as Indian oras atalav oras yotzim izah, because we know that there's three different kinds of hairs, and so therefore we're reaching three places. Kain al derek al zera derek yuvan gam Indian talas v'tzitzios ayotzim parts of Yaakov. He says ki gam the parts of Yaakov yesh lo aros v'roshi, has hairs on his head. So he also has hair coming which make tzitzis. Sheyotza tzitzios v'sa'aras tazah. So you have the same relationship. Sheysa shachatzitzios yotza hamitzomchim min ha'sa'aras shel katnas hanikras kotza, because once again these comes out from the level of katnas, which is going downwards like that. Shahare zeranpin yesh lo shtei nukvim. So he has two wives. So they're in his back. V'chein nikras rachel v'leah. In order to reach those places, he has to have three different types of hair. The hairs that actually grow from godless. Those are the ones that are actually called hairs. So he said, those go for Zah himself. Now, there's probably a lot more to be thought about that. Let's go on. But the second level, which come from Yanika, those are called Nimim, that goes with the Nuk Elyon, Hanikras Leah. The third level, which is the less, these are what come from the very earliest stage of gestation. Are called kutzim. So these are given to Zeranpin for the purpose of his female counterpart. Was his Rachel. Of the parts of Yaakov, so that there's a difference between Yaakov and his parts of. Shahare parts of Yaakov and then so, but because they're Anpin has two female aspects. But is there a Yaakov only has one? The body only has one female aspect. That's Rachel. So he says. Let me make room for myself here. So he says, Shazu hanikras hanukshal Yaakov nikras Dor Hamidbar. So he says, it's called by the name Dor Hamidbar. So I'm a little bit vague about exactly where it is, but I think it's in the front of Zeranpin. Parts of Yaakov ein sork b'shlosha minis ara. So therefore, he's not involved with Rachel and Leah. He's only involved with, he says here, with this Dor Hamidbar. Now, I thought that the Dor Hamidbar was Leah around the front, but that's a little vague. The whole thing was vague to me, at any rate. Parts of Yaakov. So now we have two different kinds of hairs for Yaakov. One is for Yaakov himself, for his female aspect, which is called the Dor Hamidbar, and so therefore there's no relationship there. As he's saying this right here, he's saying, and I know that it's not so clear. So he says, let's just read this little thing here and we'll finish. I'm reading down below now. So he says, the sim sad echad shalatalas arosha. So he said that don't make some like we always have these crowns or different kinds of things, labels really, or I don't know what you would call them, banners on top of our talis, sometimes really fancy ones. So he said, Tam and Sim and Batalas, the Sim Sad Echad Shalatalas Arosha, so that you know one side only goes on top of your head. Kamosha Noagim Ashkenazim, well, the Ashkenazim had that's custom, Kain Shorsh the Minhag there, because there's no rule for this idea. Then the Tiv writes, Ata Adaim Lo Nisbarazos. But this idea has not really been explained. Of course, he's Ashkenaz. He said, Chaz in the Moed, with God's help, he says he hopes to be able to understand what the Rav was trying to say when he said you shouldn't put a siman on the top of your talis to know that your head is underneath it. Okay, this is Baruch. That's it. Thank you very much for learning with me.